Family in Kikuyu decries justice after Kin Fantas Mwangi, a driver, was fatally shot during the Sabasaba demonstrations. Tension outside Alliance Girls High School on Thursday as outraged alumni staged a demonstration of allegations that a male teacher has been molesting students. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Laura Omondi. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. The Inter-Religious Council of Kenya has tonight called for justice, dialogue and peaceful coexistence, accusing the state of turning dissent on the Finance Bill 2024 into a murderous chaos characterized by incessant demonstrations, abductions, enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings. The clergy expressed concern that Kenya is in a very sad and dangerous state, and she finds herself in the middle of a fight by dominant political elite to acquire, protect, and consolidate political and economic power, which threatens to tear the nation apart. The Inter-Religious Council called on President William RUTO to restore public trust by ensuring senior perpetrators of violence and financial scandals face the law. They also want politicians compelled to immediately cease using religion and negative ethnicity for political mobilization. Now, in a span of days, government leaders have taken to the media to instruct police to shoot to kill and shoot the leg, seemingly a response to the demonstrations taking place in the country that have in recent times turned chaotic due to gun invasion. Belgut Member of Parliament and Defense Committee Chairperson Nelson Koech is the latest to add to the list after reiterating remarks made by President William RUTO, but with a twist, asking police to shoot to kill rather than shoot to injure. Koech further mentioned that the violent protesters will be arrested and charged for terrorism or incitement to and facilitation of terrorism due to their actions that lead to the loss of lives and damage to residential houses, commercial buildings and investment properties.
Kuna na mimi nataka niseme na nishukuru Rais William Samoei Ruto. Wakati jana umesema shoot but do not kill. I want to repeat it here. In fact, shoot and kill. You cannot have someone coming after your life and you do not want to shoot and kill. You cannot have someone who is going to terrorize you and your family and you are telling me you cannot shoot and kill. You cannot have someone who is coming after your businesses armed and with weapons and you want to tell me that you cannot use shoot and kill. The Constitution, the Police Act has given the police the powers to use their arms where they have evaluated the risk of their lives is in danger. And I want to say, these people have been terrorizing people. Anyone who wants to go to a protected area like State House is not an ordinary person. That is a criminal. That is an armed person that must be dealt with equal force. And the only force that applies to such people is to shoot and kill. If you think that the government is sending goons and assassins to attack people's property and investment, why do you have a problem when the government then goes after the people they have sent, as you claim? Watch out, we will arrest everyone, and I can tell you they are terrorists, and they are going to be charged as either facilitating terrorism or they are terrorists themselves. Yule mama ambaye alichomewa biashara yake ya county supermarket alifanya makosa gani? Opuzi yenu mnatuambia sijui one term ya nani? Nani alikuambia sisi ndio tutakaa one term? Kibaki hakukaa one term, Uhuru hakukaa one term. Sisi umeona wakati imetufikia ndio sisi ni washenzi tukae one term. Tunapiga term mbili. Fululizo.
Mtu ambaye anaenda kuchoma biashara ya mtu mwingine. Mtu ambaye anachukua moto anaenda kuchoma biashara ya mtu. Anaenda kuchoma mali ya watu wengine. Mtu kama huyo apigwe risasi miguu, aende hospitali, akienda kotini. Yes. Wasimuue lakini wapige hii miguu ivunjike ndio aende kotini, aende hospitali, akienda kotini.
I mean, what kind of remarks are those coming from government leaders? Now, President William Ruto has challenged leaders encouraging youth to take to the streets in protest to offer them a better plan for solving their issues instead of inciting them to violence. The president urged his opponents to provide better solutions to the many challenges facing the young people besides empty sloganeering. President William Ruto said the Constitution obligates him to protect the lives and properties of all Kenyans, a duty he said he would fulfill or fully discharge without fear or favor.
I want my plan to be tested on employment of young people, on dealing with the issues of young people. I want my plan to be tested against that of my competitors. Yeah? Because they don't have a plan. If you ask them, they don't have a plan. They will tell you kasongo, oh, sijui nini, nothing. Sijui kama naelewana. Tuko pamoja? And so, I want to say this, and I'm very proud to be in the middle of young people. People wamejituma, you know? People who have come from different backgrounds, gone through difficulties, they've gone through challenges, but they've stayed focused. They've stayed on course. And today, we are celebrating Nairobi United. And therefore, it breaks my heart when people who have no plan for the young people of our nation take them to the streets, abuse them in the streets, misuse them in the streets, and we end up with mayhem, rape, destruction of property, destruction of businesses, because there are people who have no plan for the young people of our nation. They have no known or credible plan. They sing about the young people of Kenya. They talk about Gen Zs because they want to use them politically. I want to tell those people who have no plan, shame on them. They should be ashamed of themselves that they have taken advantage of our young people.
Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna has faulted President William Ruto's government for the shoot to kill and shoot to injure orders, saying it is ignorant, unconstitutional, and against moral standards. While at the floor of the Senate, the ODM Secretary General said the cost of extrajudicial killings was too high to bear, and the victims are not able to make a statement on the ballot come 2027 since they are diseased.
All of us must agree that if decisions are being made democratically at an election, can we guarantee that all of us get to that election? Because you can't tell me to wait for you at the ballot and then you make sure I don't get there. Is Albert Ojwang supposed to vote from the grave? There's no such polling station. So when you talk about a state officer standing up and saying you can shoot people, as if people don't die from gunshot wounds. Honorable Speaker, we saw Rex Masai, the young man who was killed during the protest, was shot in the leg. So how can you tell people to shoot people in the leg as if those injuries are sustainable injuries? So, Honorable Speaker, we want to make it very clear that as a country, we have totally lost our way. And we will not have a conversation with someone telling us to wait for 2027 when he's not giving us a chance to get to 2027. He has become an existential threat for this country, and he must go as soon as possible. I thank you.
That I am probably the least qualified to offer any advice to the executive, the national executive, or even the county executives. But as a speaker, I want to plead with the national executive, led by His Excellency the President. I really want to plead that as a speaker, we tone down rhetoric, we tone down our speeches, we be careful the things that we say in public. For good reasons, as Speaker. Because if our president then says certain things in public, chances are that some people will react to those things. They will answer him. That exchange, as Speaker, is not good for us. This country needs serious healing and tolerance.
Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro has blamed the government for the chaos, loss of lives, and destruction of property witnessed during Monday's Sabasaba protests, saying it must take full responsibility for the events that unfolded. Speaking in Kiharu on Thursday, Nyoro pointed out alleged lapses in the country's security stratum. He said the national security apparatus was failing Kenyans despite millions being expended on them. Now, the lawmaker wondered why the National Intelligence Service, NIS, did not rise to the occasion to prepare the country for imminent security challenges on the Sabasaba day.
I have heard the governor of Kajiado confessing the people who meted mayhem in the towns in Kajiado County are not locals. The people of Nakuru, they are very eloquent on the fact that wale watu walichoma Nakuru sio watu wa Nakuru. Pale Kirinyaga, wale watu walifanya hizo jambo sio watu wa Kirinyaga. Hapa Murang'a tunajuana karibu sisi wote, hapa Murang'a town. Wale watu walifanya hizo maneno sio watu wa Murang'a. The government is squarely responsible for either omission or commission. Na mwanza kupea Wakenya tu story mingi kila wakati. We can see through the lies. We can see through, and we know for sure either the government was involved or it abetted those crimes and criminalities. Siku ya Monday ni serikali peke yake ilikuwa inalinda mabarabara zetu zote. Kama ni serikali ililinda mabarabara, wale walipita kuchoma mali ya watu, walipita wapi? Walipita wapi? Juzi tumeona mtu mkubwa mmoja ya serikali ati anaenda kuangalia ile mambo imeharibika pale Nairobi. Na kwa sababu wametunisha akili ya Wakenya sana, ati anaenda anasema hii supermarket imeibiwa na yeye mwenyewe akaweka IDs kama 50. Where did we ever see this? Going into a supermarket, wanachukua vitu katika supermarket, wanajiandikisha ati na wanaacha ID. Mmeona hiyo maneno ile bwana? Some of the narratives being crafted are crafted using government machinery, using government resources, both human resources and monetary resources. Na pesa ya Wakenya hatutakubali itumike ati serikali yenyewe ndio inaleta narratives za kugawanya Wakenya. Kama mtu anataka watu wagawanyike, aende agawanye kwake, sio kwa Wakenya.
There was tension outside Alliance Girls High School on Thursday as outraged alumni staged a demonstration of allegations that a male teacher has been molesting students for an undisclosed period. Zara Nechesa, an alumni advocate, said the group plans to sue the school's management for allegedly shielding the teacher and prioritizing the institution's reputation over student safety since 2011. The Parents Teachers Association PTA chairman confirmed that an ad hoc committee, which has been formed in collaboration with the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, the Ministry of Education, and the alumni, has launched an investigation into the shocking revelations following an expose by a local media. Now, the committee is expected to table a report by the end of next week.
Mr. Peter Ayiro be immediately suspended from all his duties, including teaching, extracurricular activities, and CU patronage, pending the outcome of these investigations. The school conducts mandatory sensitization to the students on sexual abuse, predatory behavior, and self-reporting mechanisms in close collaboration with alumni professionals from relevant fields. The alumni, eternally bonded to the school, have a lifelong interest in the safety and well-being of future generations to the school. Finally, that the school provides access to psychological support and trauma counseling to the students.
We stand for justice, and as parents we are going to facilitate that. When this thing came out on Friday, the parents, we met together, of course, with the school administration, and as parents' initiative, we have an ad hoc committee to look at it for safeguarding of the girls, for the current and for the future.
Popular TikToker Kakan Mayo, who was arrested Wednesday evening by DCI officers at his business premises on Kimathi Street, is being held at the Muthaiga police station. He was taken into custody after hours of questioning at DCI headquarters. Mayo's family says they have not been informed of the specific charges against him. However, a tweet by the DCI says he was arrested for allegedly inciting violence against police officers through a video posted on his TikTok account.
Hizi stima hapa itapigwa na stima. Si mtu kitu kwa stima kwanza. Relax basi. Si mtu kitu kwa stima. Relax. Just relax. Tulieni bwana, mnaweza bila shida.
Tumeongea, ameniambia na shida, aliojiwa tu, hajapigwa, hajafanywa anything. Yangu ni kuwa ni ujumbe kwa serikali kuwa haya mambo ya vijana tuyaangalie kimakini kidogo, kama itaweza tuwe na national conversation. Sisi wote wa Kenya tuwe kama one family, tupate solution ni nini.
He was not informed of the charges against him. However, he was booked under the charge of false publication and cyber harassment. These are some of the charges that the state has been using lately to curb on expression, freedom of expression on the social media platforms, which is a direct contradiction to the Constitution of Kenya, which under Article 33 guarantees the free expression of citizens.
From my perspective, it is what we're going through right now. Many youths are really being oppressed, and them speaking out does not mean that they are against the government. Them speaking out is the act of being a citizen, speaking out whatever we are feeling, actually. It's not out of context.
The family of Ephantus Mwangi, a matatu driver fatally shot during the Sabasaba protests in Kikuyu, is demanding justice, decrying what they describe as police brutality that robbed them of their loved one. Speaking to the press outside St. Teresa Hospital mortuary, government pathologist Dr. Ndegwa revealed that an autopsy conducted on Mwangi's body showed he was shot once. The bullet entered through the right side of his chest, perforated the lungs, passed into the abdomen, and severely damaged the liver. Dr. Ndegwa added that Mwangi suffered extensive internal bleeding, and the bullet was successfully retrieved and handed over to authorities for further investigation. The grieving family members expressed deep anguish over Mwangi's death, saying he was not involved with the protests and had fallen victim to excessive use of force by police officers. They called on the government to take immediate action, investigate the incident thoroughly, and hold those responsible accountable.
We have done the autopsy on the body of the late Ephantus Mwangi, and we have seen that he was shot once. The bullet entering the right chest cavity, perforating the lungs, going to the abdomen, lacerating the liver, and perforating also the omentum. And there is a lot of bleeding in the right chest cavity and in the abdomen. A lot of bleeding. The bullet did not come out. It was lodged in the right inguinal area, and we have managed to come out with it, which we have given to the investigating officers for ballistic, whatever they want to do with the bullet. So, cause of death, bleeding, a lot of bleeding, due to that single gunshot.
Kwa majina yangu ni Mary Wajiko, ninatoka upande ya Karawa, katika jiji la Kadutura. Mtoto wangu alikuwa amepigwa risasi, na imekuwa uhakikisho kuwa alikuwa amepigwa risasi kwa sababu imetolewa na daktari. Ningependa kuambia wale wanatulia watoto wajue kwamba wao ni wazazi na wana watoto. Hiyo nimesema, hiyo mtoto wangu alifanywa kitendo cha unyama juu hakuwa na hatia, hakuwa mwizi, na hawa askari waliambiwa shoot and kill na wakafanya hivyo. Sasa wameniletea hasara, pressure, kila kitu wameniletea. na nimepoteza mtoto. Sasa hatuwezi shirikiana na serikali inatulia watoto. Hiyo sio kazi, siwezi chukua hii serikali kama serikali nikiwa mtoto wangu ameuliwa na serikali.
My name is Julius Njoroge. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and today we are here representing the family of the late Ephantus, who was killed by police officers during the recent demonstrations. We were accompanied by officers from IPOA and the family members. There was a pathologist who was doing the who led the operation, the postmortem, and bullet head was found to have lodged at the pelvic bone of the deceased. Quite unfortunate. So at this moment I want to extend my condolences to the family and all the other families who are mourning the loss of their loved ones. So it's quite unfortunate that we have witnessed massive loss of life in the recent demonstrations, both demonstrations, 25th July and 25th June and 7th July.
Our condolences to the family of Ephantus. Allow us to take a quick break at that point. We'll be back shortly with more news making headlines. In a move aimed at restoring stability and long-term sustainability in Kenya's sugar industry, the government has announced a temporary closure of all sugar milling operations in the upper and lower western regions for a period of 3 months beginning July 11th, 2025. This directive comes as the newly enacted Sugar Development Levy takes effect, marking a coordinated strategy to rebuild the sector and phase out sugar imports by 2027. The closure, communicated in an official notice from the Kenya Sugar Board, targets key millers in Western Kenya, including Nzoia Sugar Company, Butali Sugar Mills, West Kenya Sugar Company and its Olepito and Naitiri units, the Mumias Sugar Limited, and the Busia Sugar Industry. Sugar Board CEO Jude Chesire said the decision was reached after a stakeholder consultative meeting held on July 4th in Kisumu, which confirmed an acute shortage of mature sugarcane in both regions. The shortage attributed to inadequate cane development planning, which has led to widespread harvesting of immature cane and a drastic decline in sugar production in the first half of 2025.
Now, once we are stable, then now we can do away with the levy because we'll have a revolving round fund. So this manual is supposed to actually guide us and tell us what is to be done. I know credit management sometimes can be a bit of a challenge. I'm happy that now the mills are 100% private sector driven. Our experiences in the past when we had this fund, because of the governance issues in the public mills, a lot of money was pumped in the public mills, therefore also denying the private mills money that would have developed the industry. And when you look at the write-offs that were done, the 117 billion, majority of that money, I think around 50 billion, was money that had been disbursed to the government mills. I want to appreciate the millers. I want to appreciate the farmers. We are also interacting with farmers. As you know, part of what we hope to achieve with the Sugar Development Fund is also to capacitate farmers so that they understand, for example, the obligations with regard to the contracts that they sign with the millers. Because part of the problem we have had in this sector is, as the auntie correctly put it, we have very many farmers who do not honor the contracts, and I think it emanates from the fact that we have quite reinforced the contracts, because every contract must include provisions for rewards and punishment.
Now to sports, Bishop Solumeti High School has qualified for the semi-finals of the Western Zone High School Volleyball Championship after defeating Lugulu 3 sets actually to 2 in the group matches. Sulumeti had earlier defeated Bumala 3 sets to 0 in the group matches, and thus took the lead in the group so far. Now the girls under the coaching of Samuel Wanyama will face Mudavadi in the last group match. Coach Wanyama and Nahonda insist that this is the year to win the Western Zone title.
I'm the captain to Bishop Sulumeti girls. Tumewin semi-final, tumewin hiyo pool match against Lugulu na tumesikia vizuri. Tumefanya ambayo tulikuwa tumesema mara ya kwanza, tunapita nao. Kesho semi-finali pia tunatarajia kupiga yote, tufika finali.
Na imekuwa mechi yetu ya pili kwenye kundi tukicheza na Lugulu. Mechi imekuwa ngumu, tulianza seti 2 tukiwa chini na imebidi tungangane seti 2 kutoka chini, tukashinda seti 3 kwa 2. Wapinzani wetu wamekuwa wazuri, itakuwa game rahisi. Manake wao ndio defending champion wa 2024, kwa hivyo tulikuwa tunajua tunacheza na timu nzuri. Tunawashukuru vile vile manake hawajatupatia kasi rahisi kwenye mechi hiyo. Nina imani ya kwamba hapo kesho tukikutana kwenye nusu finali, na imani ya kwamba tutacheza vizuri na tutafanya vizuri. Kile na akiza watazamaji na wale wenye wanatusupport ni kwamba watarajie ya kwamba Sulumeti itafanya vizuri, na tuna imani ya kwamba tuko tayari kushinda na vile vile kuwakilisha eneo katika michezo ya kitaifa.
Harambee Stars have officially kicked off preparations for the 2024 African Nations Championship CHAN, with Football Kenya Federation President Hussein Mohamed defending the integrity of the squad selection and government leaders calling for national support. Speaking during the flag-off at Stadion Hotel in Kasarani, Hussein addressed criticism over alleged interference in naming the squad, clarifying that the final decisions rest solely with the technical bench. His remarks come amid public scrutiny over transparency in CHAN squad selection, given the tournament features only locally based players. Hussein assured Kenyans that the current regime is committed to professionalism, distancing itself from historical controversies.
I want to thank all of you for the support you've given us this far. The government of Kenya has done a tremendous job. I mean, I cannot express, I have no words to express my gratitude and to express our happiness and the reaction from the team you have seen today is one of delight, and they have truly appreciated what this government has done for them over the last 6 or 7 months. It has been a journey and a half. There are so many people who did not believe that we would be able to host this tournament, and it is here with us. We have done everything possible together with this government to ensure that we've given them everything they need to succeed.
I'm here to bring success to this country, and the players that we've selected is the players that we've seen, the players that I've had in camp, and they were just unfortunate when you go and play World Cup qualifiers, international players come, so you can't select everyone. So now it's based on local camp. So those are the players that you've seen, and you see the qualities and where they can take the team. So do you risk taking someone based on a couple of good games, or knowing what you're going to have when you've seen players? And that's how we selected.
We have now inaugurated and flagged off Harambee Stars to go to camp. This is a team that we believe in, and I want to rally all Kenyans to rally and support Harambee Stars. This is a team also which is reflective of Kenya, and therefore it is a great lesson for patriotism in our country, because when it comes to Harambee Stars, there is no region.
All right, we've come to the end of our broadcast tonight, but just a quick update, some breaking news from the court. Now, the High Court has just delivered its judgment in the petition challenging the appointment of the chairperson and commissioners of the IEBC. Now, in its decision, the court has dismissed the substantive petition seeking to invalidate the appointments. However, the court also held that the Gazette notice issued by President William Ruto to formalize those particular appointments was unlawful as it had been published in violation of a valid and an existing conservatory order issued by the court. Now, in light of this particular development, the legal effect is that the appointments, while substantively upheld, remain incomplete until they are properly formalized in accordance with the law. The President is therefore required to issue a fresh Gazette notice to regularize the appointments in compliance with the court's judgment. So that is the latest from the corridors of court tonight. The High Court making that particular decision with reference to a petition that had been filed, halting the assumption to office of the chairperson and the commissioners of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. So still no IBC just yet. And that is what the court is trying to say tonight. Not so fast, basically. So that is the latest from the court just this evening, tonight, actually, that ruling being made. So we'll be keeping tabs with that. That is a story, of course, that will be followed up keenly as well in our subsequent bulletins tomorrow. Thank you for watching tonight. Our sign language interpreter is Laura Omondi. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. God bless.